Good evening, and welcome to Deep Space Wine, the only wine-fueled Star Trek podcast out there. I am your host, Tim. This is your co-host, Kat. And together, we are watching Deep Space Nine. Me, as a rewatch, having watched it first when it was broadcast in the UK many years ago, and Kat for the very first time. Kat has seen the original series, Kat has seen TNG, Kat has never seen DS9. So we are watching it episode by episode as they react to it with no context other than out there, out of context memes. With that in mind, we do ask that you keep your spoilers of what is to come to a minimum. The best way to enjoy the show is through Kat reacting to stuff that they've never seen before for the very first time. So that's the why and the way we do our thing. Right up at the top of this episode, I wanted to say that this is a very charged episode. This is a very grown-up episode of Deep Space Nine. It deals with some pretty adult themes, and as a result I don't want to kind of fetter Kat on myself, and so we may be discussing very explicit concepts. We may be using some very grown-up language, so frankly this is your warning that this is post-watershed Trek chat, and you have been warned. On the contrary, we invite you to join us via the chat and share as much filth as you feel comfortable with, whilst bearing in mind that I do hover above all with the mighty ban hammer, and if you get out of line, I shall banish you from chat, toss you into the wormhole, and into another quadrant of the galaxy. With that warning in mind, welcome all, for we are indeed up to Crossover, the very first mirror episode of Deep Space Nine. With that lengthy intro in mind, I'm now going to hand over to Kat to take us into the detail of this episode. Kat, please.
Thank you, Tim. The episode is the 23rd episode of Season 2. It was first broadcast on Monday, the 16th of May, 1994. It was directed by David Livingston. The story is by Peter Allen Fields, who co-wrote the teleplay with Michael Piller. So these are all Star Trek veterans working on this, people who are really immersed in the world of it. In terms of content warnings, Tim has already alluded to the fact that there is some sexual content in this episode. There's nothing explicit happens on screen. There is quite a bit of sexual threat from some of the characters, but nothing that actually materializes either on or off screen. So we will be talking about what the characters imply, the gestures they make, but no one is assaulted in the course of the episode. However, we'll also be discussing the sexualization of one character in particular, so please do be aware that will be in the mix. We're both drinking wine, and I in particular found this episode very exciting. So if at any point it all becomes too much for you, please do feel free to wander away, drink some water, and come back and hope that we've moved on to camera angles or something. So, shall I give the plot summary before we delve into my first impressions of the episode?
Yes, please, Kat, thank you.
Excellent. After experiencing operational difficulties while travelling through the wormhole, Major Kira and Dr. Bashir find themselves in an alternate universe populated by exact doubles of the people in their own universe. In this universe, the wormhole is unknown, and Terrans, that is, humans, are slaves. Deep Space Nine is a mining station run by the Intendant, Kira's counterpart, with Garak as her second-in-command, and Odo overseeing the Terran slaves. I apologise, I should also have mentioned there is some physical abuse. There are people who are enslaved and are being forced to work, and I think there might be whips used against them, and certainly heavy-handedness. So there is some on-screen violence, and one character does get exploded.
Yes.
So please do bear those things in mind, whether you intend to watch the episode or whether you're just going to listen to us talk about it. There is some violence involved. As Bashir is sent to work in ore processing, the Intendant tells Kira about James Kirk's visit to this universe a century ago. That incident led to the formation of a powerful alliance between the Klingons, Cardassians, and Bajorans, and the eventual conquest of the Terrans. Bashir talks to Miles O'Brien, a fellow slave, into configuring the transporters to help Kira and Bashir return home, but the beaten, put upon O'Brien is unwilling to risk the wrath of his superiors. Meanwhile, Kira almost succeeds in securing help from the bartender Quark, but he is arrested and executed by Garak for helping Terrans escape the station. Kira meets Benjamin Sisko's Mirror Universe counterpart, who receives better treatment than the other Terrans for carrying out piracy on behalf of the Klingon-Cardassian alliance. The Intendant assures Kira that she has nothing to fear and suggests that they should become closer. Well, that's very veiled, isn't it? Garak tells Kira that he intends to kill the Intendant and that he will let Kira and Bashir escape if she impersonates the Intendant and yields power to Garak. Bashir will be killed if she does not comply. Kira tells Bashir they must find a way back to their runabout and make their escape through the wormhole. She tries to recruit Sisko's aid, but he is unmoved. That night, Garak prepares to put his plan into effect at a lavish party thrown by the Intendant. Meanwhile, an accident at the ore processing plant gives Bashir the opportunity to escape, killing Odo in the process. Bashir convinces O'Brien to help, but the two are captured and brought to face the Intendant, who sentences them to death. O'Brien makes an impassioned speech telling the assembled crowd what Bashir has revealed about a universe where Terrans have respect and dignity. His words move Sisko, who turns on the Intendant and helps Kira and Bashir to escape. The two return to their universe, leaving Sisko and O'Brien's counterparts to fight for the Terrans in their own world. Thank you very much to Wikipedia for that rather lengthy summary. There's a lot happens in this episode. And thank you also to Memory Alpha for its extensive detailing of all of the names, places, events in Star Trek. If you want to find out whether a particular animal is mentioned anywhere else in Star Trek canon, Memory Alpha will tell you. To the Star Trek Minutiae website for having all of the Deep Space Nine shooting scripts. The shooting scripts sometimes differ from what actually ends up on screen, so it's quite exciting. I find it quite exciting reading through the scripts and seeing where those differences lie. And to the Trek Core website for all the screenshots from the episode. So, Tim, do you remember anything of how this episode impressed itself upon you, an innocent young person in the 1990s?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you. What a brilliant kick-off question. Because I was racking my brains thinking, well, you know, I saw them when they were first broadcast in the UK, which I believe was maybe about a year or so after it was broadcast in America. So I'm thinking about 94, so I'll have been about 12. I'm aging myself now. Something like that. And I remember... Okay, this is crazy. The only comparison I could have at that point, because I was still kind of... I hadn't seen Mirror Mirror by that point, which is the original series inspiration for this universe. I hadn't seen it, so the nearest comparison I had was Angels and Demons from Red Dwarf.
Yes!
Where they split the dwarf into their higher and lower selves. And my brain connected those two and thought, okay, I can see what they're doing. These are the evil alternatives. Beyond that, I actually don't have much else of a memory of it. Which I'm going to put down to being too young, possibly, to get a lot of what was going on in the episode. Odo's death, you know, spoilers right up front. You know, Mirror Odo was shot in this one. That lodged in my memory, like a splinter in my palm. I've never forgotten that image. It's an incredible image. And just, you know what? I think the only thing I do remember coming away is a perception that I was watching something very much written for grown-ups. That was my initial impression was, wow, this is really kind of grown-up stuff. And you know what? I like that. I like that it showed me that there is real mature themes, not just, you know, like themes, but actually like grown-up concepts in Star Trek. I felt that broadened my mind immeasurably. So, although I only have fragments of memory, I think, however, unconsciously it must have somewhat influenced me. Because to this day, you know, DS9 is my favourite series. I've gone so far as to carve out a large part of my life to start a podcast with my friend just so we can talk about it. So I think things like this, however unconscious, do go on to influence you. And that's kind of, yeah, that's where it all kind of kicked off. Let me turn it right back onto you then, Kat. I mean, I'm sure you are dying to tell us your initial impressions, and I cannot wait. And I think chat will join me. We can't wait to hear initial impressions, Kat, so lay them on us.
Gentle and patient audience, I have asked Tim that if I start rattling on at too great a length about any single aspect of this episode, he's very welcome to tell me to shut the fuck up and get the fuck on. And similarly, if you in chat find that I'm just saying the same thing over and over because I'm too excited about it, feel free to, you know, send up flares. And we'll try and get me to move on because I've just got so much to say about this episode. Incidentally, you mentioned Angels and Demons from Red Dwarf. Guess when that episode was screened?
Oh, God. You're going to say it's about...
Before or after? What do you think?
I'm going to say after.
9th of March, 1992, more than 2 years prior to this episode airing.
Fuck out.
However, you have also mentioned that this episode is based in material from Star Trek's Mirror Mirror episode. And I looked this up on Memory Alpha, and I'm just going to make a mess and scroll through my notes, try and find who it was who said that Michael Piller said that they'd been pitched Mirror Mirror sequels since Star Trek The Next Generation began, and I wasn't interested. I've been baffled for quite a few years that they didn't make a TNG episode based in Mirror Mirror, because the possibilities are so great, and the chance for fun and referencing the old series. It's possible that after some of the early episodes of TNG that referenced very old episodes, as soon as Roddenberry stepped away, they were happy not to return to those ideas again for quite some time. I think after The Naked Now, there was very little taste for going back and revisiting old notions from the first series.
Exactly my impression.
But yeah, I'm still kind of disappointed that they didn't. I understand that, and I've read some of the comics that have the TNG cast. There are lots of images on the internet. The muscles on the Mirror Universe TNG cast, they're built like overstuffed sofas. It's incredible.
It's all got like a massive.
I kind of love it.
That's kind of new metal vibe as well. Like, I think, doesn't Wesley have like kind of spiked hair with frosted tips and just the world's most,
I
fuck
think
you, mom.
When it was being written. Yeah.
Something else entirely. Something else. The Mirror Universe comics. Yeah.
But strangely though, I think the main thing that this episode reminded me of while I was watching it was an episode of Buffy that came after it, which I'm certain will have been based in part on it, because Joss Whedon, for all his faults, is a very big Star Trek geek.
Yes.
And yeah, the Doppelgangland and The Wish, 2 episodes of Buffy, the other way around, The Wish then Doppelgangland, broadcast in 1998 and 1999 respectively, which I did see when they were first broadcast in the UK. And which have a doppelganger of one of the main cast members who wears very tight clothing and is, to quote that cast member, kind of gay. There is no way this wasn't based on Intendant Kira. The analogy is just too close.
Yeah, they're both redheads. One's uptight, the other one's very liberated. I don't know. I'm drawing some maybe clumsy parallels, but I can see where you're coming from.
This is it. The themes are all there. The alternate universe self is both very powerful and very liberated, and has no qualms whatsoever about going up to her alternate universe self and going, actually, I fancy you a lot.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And there is something of, I think that if I'd seen a modern Trek episode that did this, I would have gone, oh yeah, that's fun, that's camp, that's cheeky, that's modern sensibilities. Yeah. Watching something with the grain of 90s television that was so clearly broadcast at that time, that reminded me so closely of other television that I'd seen at that time, because of that Doppelgangland episode, because of that episode of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
I think in fairness to myself, I don't think the only thing that excited me about it was the silver catsuit that Intendant Kira wears. It is watching something that is so much based in the 1990s, when I was growing up as a young queer person who didn't have a lot of queer representation on television yet, and seeing something from that era and just kind of being transported back to then. I think a lot of the excitement I feel about it now is the excitement I would have felt seeing it for the first time had I seen it as a child. Just thinking, oh my God, this is just beyond anything else that was around at the time until Doppelgangland. And admittedly, after Demons and Angels, which did have a very highly sexed, very inappropriately so, Rimmer, who, I didn't have any taste when I was an early teen. That had a very big influence on me. God damn.
I think knowing it's out there... Go on, yes.
So yes, I was going to say, I can only imagine the impact that it had on a lot of teenagers from all over the sexual spectrum when it first came out. And I was quite delighted by the excitement that raised in me. Just, imagining having seen it then. There are a couple of other... Is there anything else you'd like to say about about that? Or shall I move on to I've got a couple of other themes that I want to touch on before we go into analysing the episode itself.
I will note in the chat, Aurora has quoted the Rocky Horror Rimmer Show, which I think is a fantastic gag. Thank you very much. Love that. And I would say, Rimmer is massively inappropriate in that episode with no redeeming qualities at all. But I think...
Except that he wears fishnets and a lot of makeup, which...
Okay, he looks redeeming. And he has a certain twisted swagger that I can see. All I would say is, I think even just having your eyes open to that world can spark a curiosity that can then really help you discover what you do like and what is cool and what is not cool. So I think there was always a way forward for even almost the most problematic things. But, Kat, please crack on.
And And on the subject of there being problematic, all three of the oversexed alternate universe individuals were villains in the context in which they were shown, which was also a great trope in the 20th century into the 21st century. You can show your queer people as long as they're the bad guys, and that's an implicit hint that they shouldn't be doing everything that they're doing.
Exactly, I was going to ask. So I think we will get into that.
It really didn't make them less attractive, though. Let's face it. I'm also, at this point, I'm going to reel off some of my favourite examples of the trope of having an actor play themselves on screen in more than one role.
Please.
So near the beginning of last year's film Sinners, one of Michael B. Jordan's characters casually passes a cigarette to himself on screen in high definition, no cut in the film. They don't even glance down at each other's hands because they're brothers and they do it so often that he just casually takes a cigarette from his own hand. It looks amazing. James Whale, who directed the Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein films in the 30s, which are two of my absolute favourites, also made The Man in the Iron Mask in 1939 and had the same actor playing twins who interact with each other on screen. And I think he was one of the first directors to note that if you put one of them further upstage, away from the camera, it looks more natural because the angles aren't just two people facing each other at eye level. And it looks wonderful. From 2013 to 2017, Tatiana Maslany starred in Orphan Black, where she plays a staggering 13 characters, all of them clones. And the directors have a lot of fun with the characters walking past each other, casually passing things to one another. When you've watched a few episodes of it, you forget that there are 5, 6 characters on screen, all played by the same person who has had to reshoot the same scene multiple times to make it happen with costume changes in between. I really love that trope and what's been done with it over the years. And this is a really proud part of that tradition, I think. It does. The episode does a lot that it didn't have to do. It does it very effectively on a television budget. And I just nerd out so much about the scenes where Kira is on screen with Kira. It's amazing.
Technically done brilliantly. It's also, as long-time viewers of this show will know, that we love good cinematography, good direction. We like the mechanisms that make an episode pop visually and everything around it. So I think, yes, some of the stuff you just described I didn't even know was a technique, but I can see how it was deployed so effectively in this. And yeah, that even with 90s technology, that it's seamless. I was just blown away by how seamlessly they put Nana Visitor in twice. Absolutely flawlessly. So I'm really glad you flagged that, Kat. Thank you. Please crack on. I'm sure you have more.
And I think the only other thing that I wanted to cover is something that we've already alluded to, the fact that it's based in the same mirror universe that was from the original series. They could have had another alternate dimension and taken it in their own direction. Instead, similar to Blood Oath, they brought back ideas that were there from the very first Star Trek. And they do them great service here. They've really expanded on the story. They've thought about what happened in that universe since Kirk first visited it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to rewatch Mirror Mirror. It's not currently on any streaming services I have access to. And also, I've got so much to say about this episode anyway. I didn't want to add a stroke-by-stroke comparison. But to my memory, I don't think there are many, if any, scenes where Shatner is acting against Shatner. The crossover in that episode happens where good Kirk goes to the evil universe and evil universe Kirk gets brought into ours. So you see the same actor on the same set in 2 different versions of his makeup, but not acting off each other. So this one does take it much further by having the same character on screen with herself. Although they do cheekily not have Bashir there acting against himself, possibly to save time, possibly because how the heck would Bashir end up there? Just coming straight after The Wire. Just these 2 episodes. What the heck? It's some of the gayest television that was available in the 1990s, and they came week after week on the same show. It's just I'll probably go incoherent a few times tonight. It just excites me so much that this show is so damn good.
This is kind of the reaction I expected. Normally we'd have Lieutenant Noel with us, who is our backroom bridge boffin, who runs chat with us, but they can't be with us this evening. But both of us realised when we got to about the middle of season 2, we thought, there are some incredible episodes coming down the line. Towards the end of season 2, I think Deep Space Nine hits an amazing stride. So I'm glad you saw that and have seen it. We've tried so hard not to spoil Cat for the benefit of the audience, because the whole thing is, how is Kat going to react to this like any fan would have in 1993, 94 when they would have seen it on the TV for the first time. And yeah, a couple of stone cold hits back to back, The Wire crossover. It's breathtaking. So I'm so glad you saw that. I'm glad it had exactly the intended effect. I do think you were absolutely the target audience for both of these episodes back to back.
Bisexual nerds.
Well, I do feel like more than ever Deep Space Nine knew its audience. And as I'll often reference, if you hang around the Deep Space Nine communities on Tumblr, wow, do they know their audiences? Wow, amazing. Brilliant. I can't argue with anything you said. There's also like stuff I'm not going to say because it's spoilerific. God, is there anything else I would say?
Just from chat, Aurora Ultravixen points out that she's disappointed by the lack of mirror goatees in this episode. That's a very fair point. We love a good villainous goatee. Nobody has one.
How else would you know that they're evil? I shouldn't have had a shave today, guys. I could have been Mr. Spock, Mr. Evil Spock, all up in here. But so it goes. Right. I think we could spend ages just on the intro, but I'm keen to get into the scene by scene, and it is already 25 minutes into the broadcast. So, Kat, if you want to kick us off.
And we've got another image now of Kira and Kira. And I love the angles here. It's a beautifully composed shot. We've got a nice little animation of the Alliance graphic on the screen in the background.
This is a powerfully charged image.
It is, and as I said, I liked the angles that are used. I do. They could have made it easier on themselves by having both of them sitting, both of them standing. Sure. One of them is sitting on the table higher up, looking downwards. They had to match the line of sight in two different shots, as well as intensity, the feeling on the part of both characters. It's absolutely amazing. I love it so much.
It is from the shiny knee just sneaking into shot there to the evil logo in the background. It's powerful stuff. I think the only thing that could add to it is if Intendant Kira had like a knife or something and she was gently raising other Kira's chin.
Well, don't.
It's just, that's how I would have written it, but then
You're right. Bisexual knife play is the one thing that could have elevated this episode.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
Right. Thank you, Kat.
Though we're not going to take a brief break here. We're going to plow onwards because we love you, our audience. Yeah. Oh, so yes. Evil Kira, I can't remember exactly what she was. Oh, yes. Our Kira is strategic, telling Evil Kira that her Bajor could learn lessons from Evil Kira's, and maybe Evil Kira can teach her what she needs to know in order to become the leader of Bajor, which is something we know our Kira isn't actually interested in, but her read of Evil Kira is excellent. She knows that this will appeal to her. And Evil Kira says, that appeals to me. Helpfully. But I will have to kill your friend. And our Kira uses Evil Kira's language to persuade her. He's an arrogant Terran who's lived a privileged life on my side. Now he can see how the other half lives. You could influence his kind more than anyone. And our Kira says the Cardassians and Klingons would never allow it. And our Kira replies, are you the leader of this sector or not? Again, the manipulation on our Kira's part. She's smart. She's not above underhanded tactics to try and get what she needs.
Absolutely.
It's a good take on the character. Evil Kira looks sincerely delighted when she says, oh, you know how to manipulate me. Which again, she isn't a dumb bimbo.
No.
She's not. She's very heavily sexualized and she's highly intelligent and very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We love to see it, frankly.
Go get your job. Go get what you need, girl. Absolutely. And she does. She absolutely does.
God. Get that bisexual alternate universe version of yourself, girl. Oh, damn. So yeah, our Kira then says, I know how I'd feel in your place. I wouldn't give a damn what the Cardassians or Klingons thought. And Evil Kira quietly agrees, you're right, I don't. And then she does this next picture. Our Kira's eyeline follows hers, and my brain switches off most of its vital functions.
I think your caption for this one was just a bit of a keyboard smash, wasn't it? There was just a lot of letters.
It's the noise that Cat makes when he's describing when he shuts a book too quickly in his life.
Yeah, that's another great Red Dwarf quote. But that is, that you cannot look at that any other way than what it is. That is seduction 101.
I think the Deep Space Nine, generally speaking, in its episodes, it doesn't heavily focus on people's asses of either gender.
Sure.
The view from the camera is a respectful one at all times.
Sure.
It's taking into account the wider atmosphere, everything that's on the set, what the intensity of the characters is. They're very good at not just following someone's ass up the stairs to Cisco's office. So when they do focus on someone's ass like this, it's done with intention, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate it more than I would in some shows which aren't so restrained. So yeah, I love the shot. And the eye line has changed. Kira sitting down on the left is no longer looking at the same place that she was before other Kira lay back. They followed the eye line across 2 shots for 2 people. It's incredible. It's technically beautiful. And they knew he'd be distracted by her ass. They didn't have to do that. They could have had one looking away, looking fed up. They didn't. They did the most technically difficult thing because that's what they could and wanted to do. Yeah. I'm horny for the camera angles and for the technical expertise as much as I am for evil Kira.
This whole episode just has a wonderfully seductive sheen over every part of it. You can just be into all of it. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, incredible stuff.
Yeah, there are memes to be made about this. What is your sexuality? This episode. We've then got another picture. A hench female Cardassian guard enters the room, and evil Kira instructs her to find this attractive young woman some quarters. And I like that the Cardassian guard isn't gendered. She's just a Cardassian guard in the script, so they could have given the role to anyone. It's unusual for us to see Cardassian women in the military. We've seen a doctor, I think, and we might have seen 1 or 2 background hench people, but it's nice to see, although she doesn't have any lines, a prominent Cardassian hench person who happens to be a woman. And given Kira's rise to power, maybe the Alliance is actually less sexist in this universe than the Cardassian Empire in ours. But again, the episode doesn't go into sexism. It's not one of the major themes of the episode. It doesn't dwell on it. This is just my imagination on the basis of seeing 1 Cardassian guard.
I like it. And I've got to admit, and I think I've been pretty overt in other episodes as well, that ever since, I think, The Chase, when we had Gul Asset, who was the first kind of female Cardassian ship captain we saw, I've always thought that they look amazing.
Oh, yes.
Really, really quite amazing. I think the makeup was incredibly flattering, and it's sexualized brilliantly. Yeah, really big fan of
they haven't put in a boob window. They haven't deliberately made it low cut.
No.
It's a standard kind of shape and fitting of Cardassian armor.
Absolutely.
It's dignified. Yeah, I like the choices that have been made.
She still looks amazing. Very tall Cardassian lady guard. Hello. So yes.
Oh, sorry. When I squeaked just then, my camera popped up with reducing noise.
Right, that's it. The horny filters have engaged. Too much horny detected. Rein it in. We've got to rein it in.
We then go back to our Kira's quarters, where Kira walks in with a dress draped over her arm. She's escorted there by a Klingon guard, and Garak is already waiting for her. He greets her with, "How lovely. I do enjoy a well-tailored gown," which I thought was an odd lampshading reference to our universe. I don't know that this Garak has ever had the opportunity to indulge his tailoring tastes. I liked the implication that this Garak was very different from ours. And I don't know. I think I do enjoy some of the back and forth between their universe, the differences and ours and the similarities, but this one I just felt a bit heavy-handed.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, on the other hand, Garak is here to bring the full-on gay. Garak says, "She'll never let you leave, you know. Can't you tell? She's in love." And Kara asks, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "In love with you, my dear. She's all at Twitter about you. Can't talk about anyone else. You're the perfect gift for the girl who has everything. She's taken you into her heart like a drunken puppy leg left on her doorstep. And due diligence, this is the only men mentioned in or out of Callan and Drayton Puppy Leg. They don't exist except here."
The moment he said it, I thought, Kat's going to have to tell me whether or not that gets used anywhere else, because I'm going to lay
references to non-existent animals.
Right, 20 strips of Latinum on the bar immediately. That will never get mentioned again. Brilliant. Housewind. On. Oh, Star Trek.
Then continues, "Who else could she share her deepest secrets with, tell her troubles to, trust with her life?" And this is, it is all absolutely true of the character. It is good commentary on what evil Kira is thinking. And it's also Section 28 is not in the UK, so Section 28 doesn't apply, but it's your get out of jail free for showing gay people on screen clause. He can say that she's in love. It's because you are her and she sees herself reflected in you. It's about narcissism. It's not about gayness. Heaven forbid.
Oh, no.
But the whole episode is so damn camp. It really is just Just lampshading how gay
Evident.
it is.
Self-evident.
And Kira says, all you have to do is take a look at the guard outside to see how much she trusts me, which, yep, fair enough. Garak says that he arranged the guard. I take it back. And that given how much evil Kira trusts our Kira, who better to betray her? And I think it all scans perfectly well. Our evil Kira is so distracted by our Kira that she's not noticing the plots fermenting right under her nose. She's planning a party while everyone else is planning her downfall.
Yep.
It is very end of the Roman Empire stuff. It's great. Kira says that Garak is taking a risk by coming to her. Garak says that true career advancement requires risk, which, given what we learned about Garak in the last episode, yeah, it fits. Garak says, she'll never let you go. I will. Garak wants Kira to take evil Kira's place. Evil Kira will be gone. Don't make me use some foolish euphemism. I think that gone is euphemistic enough, but yeah.
Absolutely.
I think he would just have said kill outright, except that the show has to remain PG for your tea time audience. And our Kira will leave in a few weeks to explore your pa or whatever, as you picked up, Tim. At which point he'll take her place as intendant. He refers to her friend as the good doctor, who will live under Cardassian hospitality until Kira resigns, at which point they will be reunited. But if Kira declines his offer, the Doctor will also be gone. And he blows her a little unscripted kiss before he leaves the room.
Yeah, I wonder. I thought there's no way somebody scripted Andrew Robinson to do that. That must be entirely from him. So I'm glad that was not in the script, because I didn't think it was.
No, I think it's more fun that he just made it up on set. And yeah, I feel a little sorry that we didn't get to see more of evil Garak and more underhandedness from him. This is very nice, but it's also, I don't know, it's very overt, and there's none of Garak's usual veiling, usual hinting.
I was trying to figure out, is this Garak just is his mirror version just more atypical Cardassian? As you pointed out, he just seems like another thug of the regime. So he's got some of the mannerisms, but really dialed down, and everything else dialed up. Just like, yeah, I want to kill people to get a new job. I'm just a thug, scary enforcer. So yes, I think that's a fair read, which does seem a bit of a shame. But then also, how can you improve on Prime Garak?
It's very true. That may have been part of it. The only way that you can do a mirrored version of Garak is to tone down the camp significantly.
And just make him into like a mini Ducat, or a mini Turan, or any, walk-on.
Even Ducat, though. I think Ducat, we know I've got feelings about Ducat's neck. But even he, in his dealings with Sisko, whenever he's being kind of diplomatic and trying to get what he wants, he will do a slightly Commander, how could you think I would be capable of such a thing? There is a campness, and there is a villainy, and there is a very, we all know I'm evil, let's not pretend otherwise.
And there's none of that in
Whereas
Mirror.
this is completely absent from our Garak, which we could probably expand to think it's a difference in Cardassians generally, in the way that they've lived when they haven't had the control they've had for so long. They're not as shrewd manipulators as they might be. But we're going off on a tangent.
I'm going to point out that we have, we've passed 2 hours, 1 minute, so I don't know if maybe we spend like 20 minutes going through the next scene or so, and then we could call it wherever we get to it at maybe 20 past and say, look, we'll be back in a week's time or something. I don't know. Kat, and chat, you're all welcome to this backroom discussion. How do you want to play it, Kat? Because I'm easy, but I do feel maybe we shouldn't go much longer than the next half hour.
I think you're probably right. To be honest, my back is starting to ache a little from all the excited sitting up and leaning forward. Maybe we actually leave it here and come back next time to pick up after Garak has made his overtures to Kira.
I think that's fair. Let's have a look. So according to the not the shooting script, the Memory Alpha, we are currently in Act 3 of 5. So we're just past the halfway point. So that does seem like a reasonable point. Yeah,
I think so, and I think that when we get to the end, we're going to have a similar amount of stuff to discuss as we do at the top of the episode. So it's not going to be get to credits and then we stop.
We spent 20 minutes just in the intro when we normally spend about 10. So I think that's a good shout. And I'm grateful to Orange and David in chat, who are also like, yeah, this sounds like a good call. Orange and David have been with us since first contact, so I appreciate your support as well, gang. So I think that's a good shout. Yeah. Do we wanna on that bombshell of Kira being coerced into being a patsy in Mira Garak's rebellion plot. Do we want to leave it there?
Oh, the betrayal.
The betrayal.
Yes, we'll pick it up next time and see how they get on with that transporter plan.
That sounds good to me. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and friends and folk of all persuasions, thank you so much for joining Deep Space Wine. It has been a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you all for joining us on what has become our first, and probably not our last, two-parter. We will return in probably about a week's time, if we can both manage it, to discuss part 2 of Crossover.
And also to note, as we haven't previously, this is currently, when we're streaming, it's June. It's Pride Month. We're focusing on arguably the gayest episode of Deep Space Nine so far. This pleases me tremendously. So happy Pride
Happy
to all of you who are listening or watching.
Everyone. What a great moment. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. Take care, live long and prosper. See you again soon.